We're here today at Boulder Creek, running through the middle of Boulder, Colorado. And today we're going to be talking about the nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen is an element. It's a basic building block of our atmosphere, of our Earth. And you can find nitrogen in the atmosphere as a gas. You can find it as a solid in soils. You can find it as a dissolved form in the stream water and water that we use and drink. Each living being needs nitrogen to survive. We use nitrogen for basic building blocks of life. In order to make DNA, proteins, and amino acids, we need nitrogen. So nitrogen is stored within human bodies, all animals, and also all plants. So all living things need nitrogen to survive. Nitrogen is continuously traveling through our environment. It travels between different reservoirs that store nitrogen. When we're talking about nutrient cycling, like nitrogen or carbon, we use the term reservoir to describe a place that stores that nutrient. And so our atmosphere is a reservoir for nitrogen, soils are a reservoir for nitrogen, and also water is a reservoir for nitrogen. That can be surface water, groundwater, the ocean. All of those places contain nitrogen. And also biota, or all living things, are a reservoir for nitrogen. And so today we're going to be talking about how nitrogen travels between those reservoirs. So I'll walk you through a quick example, and then you'll be learning more about where nitrogen can travel and how it travels. So for example, nitrogen is stored within the soil as a nutrient. And when plants grow, when a tree buds leaves in the spring, it needs to take that nitrogen up from the soil and use it for the formation of plant proteins and DNA. So this leaf right here contains nitrogen that may have come from the soil beneath. And when this leaf dies in the fall, it'll be a dead leaf that falls down to the ground. That dead leaf contains nitrogen still. And so bacteria will decompose this leaf through a process called mineralization and return that nitrogen as a nutrient back into the soil. And when that nitrogen is in the soil, it might rain. And when it rains, that rainwater could dissolve that excess nitrogen in the soil through a process called leaching and bring that nitrogen into the surface water, into the stream. So there's dissolved nitrogen in Boulder Creek as it flows by, and that dissolved nitrogen might get used by another microbial community, which are called denitrifying bacteria. And those microbes use that dissolved nitrogen as a source of energy and then release it as a gas into the atmosphere. 80% of our atmosphere is made up of nitrogen in the form of a gas, N2. And so that nitrogen in the atmosphere might be used again by bacteria that are in the soil, which are called nitrifying bacteria. Nitrifying bacteria love to live on the roots of bean plants or legumes, and so and also willows up in the mountains. And so those denitrifying bacteria will take that nitrogen gas from the atmosphere and use it as a source of energy, and then create ammonium or nitrate, which are two favorite forms of plants, favorite nutrients of plants. And so that returns that nitrogen back into the soil, which then can be used the next year for growth for the tree for new leaves. So nitrogen is continuously making these cycles and transitions through different parts of our environment. So today you'll be learning about how that nitrogen travels and where it goes, and you'll get to be a nitrogen molecule traveling through your own environment.